So that's what it's like to be on the opposite side of the Justin Turner walk-off home run experience. It's nice. I like it. That and more. Setup man. Let's go. Welcome into the Setup Man podcast. This ought to be one of the more bizarre episodes we've ever done because Cubs took 2 of 3 of the Orioles, but anyone else feel great about it? I sure don't, but we'll talk about that and more in just a second. Before we get to all of that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and that little bell. I heard through sources I trust there's going to be a Kyle Tucker breakdown in the next 48 hours. I don't know whenever the Podfather finds time, but there's something coming. So look forward to that. Make sure you hit the bell so you get all of those notifications. Audio only. Thank you for listening, but you're missing out on YouTube, but that's okay. Audio only. Please hit that subscribe button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and do us a favor and hit that 5-star review button. Okay, well, in one of the more bizarre series of the week, or of the year, really, Cubs take 2 of 3 from Baltimore. They probably should have swept, but Caleb Thielbar and Ryan Brazier had a rough 8th inning yesterday, Saturday that is. But they take 2 of 3, and game 3, of all people, Justin Turner, who's batting .211 on the season, calls game with an absolute monster shot into the left center field crowd. Ty, I really don't even know where to begin with this series just because they should have swept. They didn't play like a team that should have swept. They take 2 of 3. They walk off today, and I don't feel good. Am I crazy? Or was this like the most disappointing series win that you can think of?
First off, it's great to see you.
Good to see you too,
second of all, happy Sunday to all our listeners that are listening here on Sunday, or they're going to be tuning in Monday morning on their ride to work. We always appreciate you tuning in. I think this has been a really difficult thought process to take in because you talk about the deadline not being enough, this team not buying like they're trying to win the Central. They're buying like they just want to get into the playoffs, right? That's a different conversation. So that's one. The team this year is now 19 games above 500 with a plus 115 run differential, second in baseball behind the Brewers, and third's not even close. They have dealt with injuries, things that, situations like losing your ace in Justin Steele, getting back up from Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga stepping up, Cade Horton really starting to show well. But then you look on the flip side and you're barely taking 2 of 3 from the Orioles. Barely. At home. Right? You, at the deadline, didn't buy enough to make yourself a divisional, fearing the Brewers of being the divisional winners. And so, again, this is where it's difficult because we have fans that'll comment and say, oh, you guys are not happy about this team being that great. You would have done anything to be in this position last year. That is a totally legitimate argument.
Yeah.
But you traded for Kyle Tucker in the offseason. There comes a point as this team, that you look at them and you say they've done all the things prior to the trade deadline to build themselves to potentially be a World Series contender. The problem is that you just didn't do enough in the eyes of many fans to solidify the chances of you beating out the Brewers. Who would have predicted the Brewers would have been in this position right now if the Brewers were what the expectations were before the season, which was going to be a middle-of-the-level team? Then we'd all be sitting here feeling a little bit better about this, series win. So, again, this all goes back to why they didn't do enough at the deadline to make this series not feel as difficult to watch as it was. Am I off on that, Alex?
No, valid points. I think the bad taste left in the fans, including you and I, that bad taste that was in our mouth on Thursday night kind of still lingered. But then Kittredge this whole weekend looked awesome. He was filthy. It was like, okay, you know what, Jed? I apologize. Taylor Rogers pitched yesterday, looked pretty good. It was just like, oh, all right, Willie Castro, what a fun acquisition he was. He made that, was that yesterday? Yes, Saturday's game. That little glove flip early in the game, I'm like, oh, hello. Like it just like the standalone moves were fun, but it's just like, oh, we're kind of missing something. And then even in the bullpen, yeah, we added two pieces that so far so good, tiny sample size. But then like today, you're reminded that oh, Palencia is human. He's throwing 101, and those Orioles hitters were not fooled at all. And the breaking stuff was not sharp Friday when he pitched, and he got away with it. Today he didn't. It's like, okay, well, Johan Duran would look pretty cool in this spot. You could have had him. But the tough part, as you said it, I don't want to be. They won a series that they had to win. Cool. Should have swept. Probably should have. But Thielbar had a bad day. It happens. Bad timing. Okay, fine. But it just they won 1-0 on Friday. And the only reason they scored that run was a sac fly that, let's face it, Carson Kelly probably shouldn't have gone, and they kind of got away with it because Carson Kelly's not speedy, and it was a bad throw, and they got away with it, and they won 1-0. All right, cool. Yesterday they were up 3-0. Matthew Boyd, unbelievable. 7 shutout again. He just keeps rolling. How you lose that game is baffling. You really can't lose that game, and somehow they found a way. And then today, Palencia gives it up. Justin Turner plays hero. So it's this weird weekend where I don't know what to take away from this weekend because they didn't play great, haven't played great really since the break. Yet they won a series they had to. I don't know. I should be complaining, but then today, Turner hit that ball, and I was watching the game with my family. We all looked at each other like, holy shit, did Justin Turner just do that? He sure did. So I feel good about today, but I don't know how to feel. Help me, Ty. Be my therapist. How should I be feeling?
And that's what I tweeted, which was there are just so many thoughts to have about this team right now, and the fact is that we faced a lesser opponent. We faced an opponent this year that was big time sellers at the deadline, right? And a team that really has not met expectations at all. Now the front six of that lineup is not bad, right?
They have a lot of guys that I'm like, oh, that guy's good. Henderson,
Yep.
Rushman. Like, there's a lot of guys that I'm like, oh, yeah, that guy's really good.
Colton Cowser's a fantastic player. Obviously, Jackson Holiday is really starting to come into his own. They aren't necessarily messing around at the top of the lineup. It's the rest of the team from the starting pitching side of things, along with their bullpen. Man, we could go in a number of different directions right now, and it's really hard to discuss this. But I think if we're talking about which is the offensive woes, right? I want to start there. So we can all say, yes, there was definitely a bunch of home run or should have been home runs this weekend, right? Like according to Wrigley Winds on X on Friday, winds blowing in from center field at 12 miles per hour up to 16. Let's see here. Yesterday was blowing in from 9 up to 12. And then today, I took a picture of this, dude. This was crazy. So today they had, let's see here. So from left field, the wind was blowing out in the bottom of the fifth at +3 feet, but then left center was -3, center was -14, then right center was -20, and then right field was -27.
Yow.
So look, the offense right now, the first 2 days with Tucker and Seiya was a little bit of a struggle. Obviously, yesterday too. PCA had 7 strikeouts over the weekend.
He looked lost the last 2 days.
He looked lost, right? And the bottom of the lineup did come through with new addition of Willie Castro. Nico Horner had a really, really nice weekend. He's had a great start to the break. He's been fantastic. So we look at all these things, but we look at the stars, right? And Tucker and Seiya, like from the actual need of slug, just has not been there. Yeah. And out of the gates, right? That is their job. So if we're looking at if you look at the just straight box score, you're going, oh, well, Seiya had a couple hits, Tucker had a couple hits, but a couple singles here and there, and we're just not producing after the fact. So it's tough to talk about. There's obviously, we want to point at the wins and everything, but look, if you want to be the fan that's saying, oh, you're just saying that because you're a Cub fan, Tyler O'Neill should have won the game on Friday.
Oh, absolutely.
Tyler O'Neill put that ball basically onto Waveland, and for some reason, I don't know what in the world, Rhino was looking down on us. Shout out Rhino, by the way. That was an amazing ceremony. I know we'll talk about that. Yeah. But even Tyler O'Neill's ball was supposed to go, about 400 feet off Palencia there in the top of the ninth. So everybody sort of got screwed by it. And Thankfully, they just found a way to win 2 out of 3. Couple more takeaways that I'll take away from the weekend here, Alex. You know, looking at it, Willie Castro, of course, like you mentioned, he's a really fun addition. Really
Yeah.
big hit there in this game, which started the bottom of the sixth rally to score one there, 2-out single. Just seems like a ball player, like the guy that you would want on your Little League baseball team that you could put anywhere on the field
Yeah.
is definitely Willie Castro. So I will give Jed a lot of credit. He's been an amazing addition. Talking about the other additions is too, like you mentioned, Kittredge and Rogers look really, really good. Excited to see how Soroka looks this week as well. Again, credit to JT. I know we haven't really talked about him as much. We do want to give him his flowers because for a veteran like him to have not really a key role this year, to come off the bench and be ready in that position to really step up for the team there. You just got to give the kid a lot of credit. He really was awesome. And then my final notes is, like you said, Matthew Boyd was tremendous. Cade Horton looked really good again.
Yes,
And
thank you for mentioning him.
he has been, I tell you what, this was a cool stat that I saw here. But Cade Horton and Paul Skeens are the only two pitchers since June 1st to have had 5 scoreless starts of at least 5 innings. That's according to @SleeperCubs on X. So he has done amazing.
You stole my stat of the day, so I had to sneak in the choir real quick.
Written down.
I didn't have it on my outline. I had it. I have another one though. It's fine. We'll call him back.
He's good. So just like, you know, looking at all those players, right? Overall, it's great to just win 2 out of 3. It's great to win another series. And I said it on Friday or on Thursday's show. I said the expectation should be on Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember what day it was, but I said you better win 2 out of 3. And look, like you said, I actually have an interesting question for you. Hopefully we're not running. Are we running too long here? I just want to make sure I'm not. Okay. What was interesting to me was that when Ryan Brazier came in the game in the 8th inning on Saturday, I know Keller threw quite a few pitches on Friday, but did you notice that Keller was warming up during, I believe, either when they brought in Thielbar or it was either right before the Gunner AB, during the Gunner AB, or just after. It was around there.
I must have missed that. I did not notice that.
He was in the bullpen. So I went, okay, so is he available for just one guy? So like maybe that's why he was brought there. I was like, oh, okay, well, if he's available, Brazier should not be throwing in this situation at all. So that was unfortunate. Brazier just didn't have it. And he really isn't. He's just unfortunately just one of those options at this point that you kind of have to go to probably savor the arms. Craig was probably sitting there going, well, we're up 3. I at least know that if they're going to get to a situation where they have a chance here, it's going to be multiple lefties. I could bring in Thielbar. But man, it'd just be nice to have another arm there or even adding another arm that's even better than Keller, where Keller can come in that spot. I mean, I get it. There's probably factors that, you know, I don't know about, that Keller was only available for 5-10 pitches and could only be available for one hitter. I just thought, you know, he was warming up there. And I went, like, interesting.
Yeah. And the Brazier thing, I guess I'm not that upset because if you look at his game log since June 1st, so in the last 2 months, he's got, let's call it 16 appearances. Actually, I think it is 16 appearances. He's only given up 4 runs. And he's given up 5 runs on the entire season. Like, we haven't talked about Brazier a lot. He's actually been pretty darn good.
So you're saying I'm wrong?
Not necessarily. I don't love seeing
Sunday, man.
I didn't say. I'm just saying that in the moment, I was like you, like, why is Brazier in right here? But then when you dive into the numbers, it's like, okay, I kind of get it. But if Brazier's coming in the 6th, 7th, I feel a lot better than him pitching the 8th. But I don't disagree with you because it's just I don't know what it is. Call it a gut thing. But it's like, okay, why is Keller not in? Why is there's something about Brazier where I like him a lot in early innings, not high leverage. But his numbers suggest that he should be a high leverage guy.
Well, and that's why maybe he's not in those situations as much this year. And look, I get it. I know we have some bullets down in AAA right now that are possibly going to come up here. I know Hodge has really struggled, but Yency Almonte has looked excellent down there. I know he might be in AA, but at least got some bullets down in the minor leagues. Look, okay, so I want to finish it with this, Alex, and I think this is interesting, right? The Cubs right now, records per month. March 3-4, April 15-9, May was absolutely outstanding, 18-9, June 13-13, July 14-10. Now they're 2-1, of course, in August. Look, being above 500, either at 500 or above 500 in every single month except March, which was obviously a short one, is excellent. And I think that's where I think where folks, both Alex and I are at. It's just that we expect so much more from this club right now.
Bingo.
And I would say this, they expect more out of themselves as well. Craig talked about it a lot in his pressers of like, right now our key guys aren't coming through. It is what it is. We just got to find a way, right? I love all that. I expect more from the team. I'm disappointed in the front office, in the fact of that you just didn't do enough to get more arms and more bullets in the pen, in the starting rotation, even a big bat like Suarez, right? So there's two different sides to this. I don't want to look at the Cubs as like a full thing here because the front office and Jed and Carter did not add enough to where you can go, this team is a World Series contender, right? Let me ask you this, Alex. If they added Suarez with what they did, are they a World Series team?
Well, we're going to talk about it in about 30 seconds, but the way that their stars, quote unquote stars, are playing, no. It does. You could put Babe Ruth in this lineup. It's not going to matter. Your complimentary guys, Carson Kelly's been hitting, I think Marquis said like 333 in the last month.
Awesome. Great in July. He was great in July. Absolutely
awesome. Fantastic. Nico Horner's up basically batting 300 now for the season. Nico Horner's been awesome. Dansby's been up and down. He's batting 9 today. So all you Dansby needs to be hitting lower. He can't hit lower than 9th.
Came through today with a huge hit. He did come through with a huge hit in the 6th.
He basically had the game won until Palencia obviously wasn't fooling anybody. But right now, well, let's get to it.
Hold on, one more thing. Let me just say this, please, fans, listeners. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Comment below. We want to hear where you're at with this team, and I want you to separate both the team from like the players that are in the clubhouse, even like Craig, right? Versus what's going on in the front office, because there has to be a separation here. And like even like a triple or like a trio, right? You can talk about what's Craig doing, how the lineup and the team is doing right now, and then the front office, because I'm starting to separate sort of these sectors here of like where does everything sort of line up and what would you grade them right now. So please like the video, but also we really, really want to hear your thoughts on sort of the front office versus the actual ball club that's on the field.
Yeah, and I mean, well, let's just talk about it.
Yep.
So actually, you know what? Let me back up here. Okay. Let's talk about, we have a little bit of news to get to. So Miguel Amaya is continuing to rehab at Iowa. He seems to be getting closer and closer. There's another name, though, that made his first rehab start today. That was Jamison Tyone. Folks, it's not what you want to hear. So he felt great. That's the biggest news coming out of this. Is Tyone left the start after 3 innings, felt great. However, it was only 3 innings. He gave up 7 hits, 6 earned, only struck out 1, and he hit 2 guys. His velocity topped out at 92.8. He threw 64 pitches, 42 of which were strikes. So, unfortunately, it's kind of the same old story. Even in AAA, he's throwing a lot of strikes. He's not really fooling anybody. And again, AAA. And again, it's his first start, his first time pitching in about a month. Okay, I get it. And maybe he's just working on stuff like spring training. Who knows? Fine. But he still gave up 6 earned runs to AAA hitters. Concerning, to say the least.
Well, it looks like on Baseball Savant, he's throwing around average 92.3 on the year.
So that's good. It was up a little bit then.
It was up a little bit, but here's the thing is that I'm not too excited to hear about another guy coming into the rotation who's throwing 92.3.
Yeah.
Maybe that's more of the storyline is like, oh, yeah, we had Tyone back. Who has, when he's pitching at Wrigley, when the wind's blowing in at 10 miles per hour, he's fantastic.
Sure. I would be. You and I would be.
It's disappointing, but carry on.
Yeah, and not to keep rehashing the trade deadline, I think that's why I wanted Cabrera or even Alcantara. Just, they have a lot of guys that throw similar stuff. So even today, watching Colin Ray pitch, and he was fine. He wasn't lights out or anything. He was fine. But it's just like, it's just another guy who looks like the other guys, except this guy throws right-handed versus left-handed. Boyd touches 95 every so often. Shota doesn't. Cade hits 95 occasionally, but it's not really. He's got so much other stuff going on, so much movement. So I guess he is the difference maker velocity wise. But the other guys, it's 93. You kind of know what you're getting. So even with Tyone Asai coming back, you're not getting any different looks. It's just kind of adding the same pitcher to your already built rotation. So
Yeah, this will be really quick.
Yeah.
Is like reports came out that Sandy Alcantara, the Marlins asked the Yankees for their top prospect, either George Lombard Jr. or Spencer Jones. So that just shows you where it was all at. But
Crazy.
Again, it does not stray away from the fact that they could have gotten guys like Merrill Kelly and other names. Carry on.
No, we honestly.
I was going to say, do we have any rumors to talk about? Do we have any trade rumors to talk about? Thank the Lord. Okay.
No, in fact, I saw this complaint in the comments for the last couple of months. We're going to talk some ball right now. We're getting to it. The offense for our beloved Chicago Cubs really have been struggling in the month of July and now bleeding into the month of August. So since the All-Star break, this is actually, well, I'm bringing the choir in for this because these numbers are absolutely insane. Stat of the day. Since the All-Star break, combined, Michael Busch, Kyle Tucker, and Seiya Suzuki are batting, again, combined, 157 with 11 RBIs. And if my eyes deceive me, the guy who wants $500 million this upcoming winter with a runner on second early in today's game, unless I missaw it because I was doing some other stuff, did he bunt? Ty, I'm asking, did he actually bunt? I thought I saw Kyle Tucker.
You're talking about Kyle Tucker. I if I missed it, I apologize, everyone, because I don't believe I remember seeing that. Maybe he did. Maybe it was one of his at bats that I just stepped away for a few minutes. But maybe he did. What a team player.
Well, let's start with Kyle Tucker. So, again, I want Kyle Tucker to be my right fielder for the next decade. I want to buy his jersey. I want to get an autographed jersey of his frame for my basement. That said, woof. His numbers before July, this is per Wrigley Wire on X. Again, a great Cubs follow. Go check their stuff out. Before July, his average exit velocity was 91.2 miles an hour. Average. His max was 108.7. His hard hit rate, 45.6%. His barrel rate, 12.9%. And his average bat speed was 72.2 miles an hour. Okay, that's April Kyle Tucker. That is superstar Kyle Tucker. That is what his numbers look like. Since July 1st, average exit velocity, 87.5. Way down. His max, 104.5 miles an hour compared to 108. That's down. His hard hit rate, only 27.8%. His barrel rate, 2.8%, Ty. 2.8. And his average bat speed is down a mile an hour, 71.8 miles an hour. So not that drastic, but 0.4 miles an hour. Okay, that's not that drastic. When I saw those numbers, I couldn't believe it. He just has had no impact. He's not hitting the ball hard. What is wrong with Kyle Tucker?
I don't know.
And that's a show. Subscribe.
He had a 993 OPS last year.
He had 23 homers by like June 1st or something insane.
I'm not there. And I was actually just looking up the 2024 roster for the Astros and going, okay, well, it's, but it doesn't really relate to his own individual metrics when it comes to bat speed and those certain things, right? And look, he has a great eye at the dish that has not gone away the entire year. He is a tremendous player when it comes to on base, according to walks and his eye at the dish. Yordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, like stars of the game, right? We're in that lineup last year. Maybe he got a couple more pitches in the zone to hit. Maybe. The problem is, though, is that he just isn't hitting anything in the zone. And
he's not hitting it hard when he does.
And the problem, and Sam Olber mentions this all the time, where you talk about the pressure he must be feeling that every tick down on velocity, every tick down on OPS, every home run he doesn't hit is another dollar he's not going to see on his future contract. And look, will the Cubs try and get him back next year and for the future? Absolutely. The Cubs will definitely do that. They've talked about it. If they don't do that, I think, again, then we're really starting to see some really brutal things with this organization. I just think right now that I don't know why. The thing is like putting him down the lineup is not going to really do much because he already has a great eye at the plate. So he's not necessarily swinging at everything all over the place. So then you're bringing him down the lineup, sort of, hey, man, you're going to get more pitches in the zone. You can relax a little bit. They can't really do that. So look, I don't know what in the world they got to do for Kyle Tucker right now, but dear God, man, it's just been not what we expected. And especially looking back when the season started, man, he was phenomenal.
So good.
And so good. And just at this point, it just hasn't really been what I guess like anywhere near where our expectations are. And at moments he does hit the ball hard, but I will say this too, like Seiya obviously has not been great lately. PCA has been, he's been sort of hit or miss for the last 2 weeks. And I think that it's just hard. Maybe he turns around in the next week or so, but man, it's been quiet for sure.
It just look, his presence in the lineup, I still think makes a difference because you could tell some of these pitchers are still pitching around him. Although I did feel Baltimore went after him a little bit more. Especially today, he had a couple pitches in the zone where it's like I expect a superstar to hammer those balls.
Yeah.
Either fouled off, like he's just out of sorts. I don't know if it's mechanical. I don't know if it's just a timing thing. I don't know if he's battling a little bit of a nagging injury that we don't know about, which would totally be on brand for the Cubs. Maybe Kyle Stanley will break that down in a breakdown upcoming. Be sure to like and subscribe. But it's just he's not hitting the ball hard. Plain and simple, like his average bat speed. Okay, it's down a little bit. Whatever. He had a bad month. Whatever. I do expect him to turn it around at some point. Because at some point there's got to be positive regression where his numbers are going to catch up to the back of his baseball card. That's just the sport, especially when you're that good. And you mentioned it. He's still taking pitches. He's seeing the ball well, it looks like. He's just not hitting it. There's just some little hitch somewhere in his swing, whether that's mental or physically his mechanics. There's something off. And it's not just him. Let's talk about the next guy. I got Seiya Suzuki. I got some of his numbers. Since June 27th, I know since the All-Star break, he's got like 4 hits. It's been really bad since the All-Star break. But even since June 27th, he's hitting 224. He's only got an on-base of 303. His slug is way down, 439. Also, he's striking out kind of a lot. He's got 34 Ks to only 12 walks. So he's striking out more than usual, and he's not really walking, which, to be fair, his approach this season has been a little more aggressive. He's not walking as much this season. That's fair. I get it. But 34 Ks in the last month, Seiya, who's known, and again, we all know Seiya gets screwed by umps more than anyone in baseball. I get that. That's part of it too. But he's not really driving the ball either. Today he had a hit. It was just a little floater into center. Ho hum. But this is another guy. Kyle Tucker's struggling. Seiya, who was leading the major leagues in RBIs, he also can't be struggling, or then you have nothing. Then your lineup is mush. It's not the greatest lineup in baseball or the most feared or whatever the experts are saying. If those two guys aren't performing, it's Nico Horner and Carson Kelly. That's right now the backbone of your offense. That's a massive problem.
Absolutely, yeah. Seiya has changed his approach this year to saying, "Hey," or what the Cubs have done with him is, "Hey, we don't need you to be a Kyle Tucker like hitter, which he never will be, but like those were the expectations for him the last 2 years because there was nobody in the lineup, maybe besides Bellinger, that could feel as if there's a little bit of comfort in front of Seiya." Now, when Tucker is struggling and and Seiya now has to go up there and now do things himself, now teams can, when Tucker's struggling and Tucker's not getting on base a lot, he's not, hitting the ball tremendously hard. Teams don't have to worry as much about Kyle Tucker. They can attack Seiya more. Now, Seiya's not going to get as great as pitches to hit. And so you mix that in with the fact of Seiya is also having a different approach this year where he's able to swing a lot more. He doesn't have to worry about walks. Hey, man, free swinger, go after it. At this point, it's just not going to work with what's going on. So, look, him and Tucker are always going to be 2-3 in the lineup. I don't think those things are going to change here for the rest of the year. So, hopefully, at one point, Tucker can kind of figure it out. And then I think we'll see Seiya have a tick up. So, Maybe everything does revolve around Kyle Tucker, which we've all said for the longest time, but man, it is becoming really evident. When you don't have a superstar hitter doing well with the lineup this Cubs team has right now, can't really expect them to be a great team.
No, they're an 83-win team. We saw that the last 2 years. They didn't have Kyle Tucker the last 2 years, and they had Cody Bellinger, who's been doing about this production. At least last year, they were an 83-win team. Then Cody Bellinger went nuclear in July of 23, and they were one of the better teams in baseball. He cooled off. They became an 83-win team. Without your superstar, this team is currently constructed as an 83-win team, and you can't really argue it because we saw it twice. Like, there's not really much of an argument. And we mentioned earlier, I don't have him in the outline, but we at least have to touch on PCA. And he's been fine since the break. He's still hitting 333. I just looked it up on Baseball Reference. But this weekend especially, now if he's going to struggle, he struck out 7 times. And today, or no, I'm sorry, Saturday's game, he got rung up on a ball that was about 3 feet above the strike zone. One of the worst calls I've ever seen. And then today, he struck out in his third at-bat. And his last at-bat, it looked like he was swinging a garden hose at a ball that was in the other batter's box. He looked lost. So now, I hope this isn't the case, but now if he starts struggling, he goes from MVP candidate to last year's PCA. Then guess what, folks? This Cubs team is screwed, and the Reds are coming. Like they might catch you if these 3 guys all in a row don't perform. Oh, buddy.
Yeah. Look, I think we'll end it with this. The Cubs right now bought at the deadline to be a playoff team. They did not buy at the deadline to win the division. Make that clear.
Yeah, no more
if
questions.
your stars aren't even producing, now you're a middle of the pack road team because your starting rotation isn't elite. Okay. So your bullpen's been fine, right? Above average has been your bullpen this year. Above average has been your starting rotation. Above, obviously, the offense with a plus 115 run differential, people are going to say, oh, the offense has been fantastic all year. There's been these dips in these certain portions of the year that have been pretty severe. Okay. So the team has found themselves a way to pick themselves up in certain aspects, right? Above 500 pretty much every single month. Okay. Except 2 of them. So I just think that again, I wish I could say, oh, we need to buy this. Or like, you got to figure it out. Like, Jed, you made your own bed. You got to figure it out with this organization right now to get this offense going. And if tomorrow they score 10 against the Reds, against the lefty, which would be shocking, then yes, great. But look, it's just hard for me to sit here right now and take this team extremely serious based on the circumstances of where they're at.
Well, I mean, shout out to our friends at Locked On.
Shout out to Matt Cozy and Sam Olber.
They literally, their Thursday episode was titled Unserious. That was their thumbnail for their show for after the deadline. And you know what sucks is today was such a fun game. Palencia blows it. We're like, oh no. And then Turner plays hero ball, and it's great. It's one of those things where I don't want to be negative, but this team, regardless of how things are going, if those 3 guys, and I didn't even talk about Michael Busch, who since the All-Star break's betting $156, they're not going anywhere. But let's talk about the Red Series quick.
Setup Nation, I want to take a quick break so that you know how you can support our channel and wear some cool swag like this. We've teamed up with Obvious Shirts to give you a chance to have your very own Setup Man shirt or hat. Pick from 3 different types of shirts or my personal favorite, the trucker hat. Go to the link in the description of this video and podcast to claim your Setup Man apparel. And thank you so much for supporting our channel.
Thank you for the support indeed. Support the people that support us. Joe at Obvious Shirts has been awesome to be a partner with. So make sure you go get your Setup Man swag at Obvious Shirts. All right, let's talk Cubs Reds. The Reds are coming to town starting tomorrow night. And boy, oh boy, are the Cubs going to have their hands full. So game 1 will be the newly acquired starting pitcher, apparently. I was going to say pitcher, but starting pitcher, as of now, Mike Soroka will be going up against left-handed star Nick Lodolo. Soroka on the season 3-8 with a 4.87 ERA. Nick Lodolo has been outstanding, an 8-6 record with a 3.09 ERA. Throw in the fact that he's a lefty, Cubs will have their hands full on Monday night. Then the Reds starter for Tuesday night. The Cubs have not yet announced theirs for game 2 or game 3 as of recording, but it'll be their new starting pitching acquisition, Zach Little on the season, 8-8 with a 3.58 ERA, right-handed pitcher for what it's worth. And finally, the Reds will be closing out with Andrew Abbott, who has been an absolute monster this year. Left-handed pitcher, that doesn't help. Andrew Abbott is 8-1 with a 2.15 ERA, one of the best in the National League ERA-wise. Ty, this is an uphill battle. I don't feel good, especially after this series where you should have handled business. This don't feel good.
I don't feel good, Jim. So let's I'll talk about the Cubs first, really quick, because obviously, as you mentioned, Tuesday and Wednesday haven't been announced. I don't want to assume anything, especially with just how many changes we've had as of late. But here's an interesting thing: Mike Soroka just recently faced the Reds. So he faced them on Wednesday, July 23rd. He went 5 2/3, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 Ks, 88 pitches. Okay. So that's a good and bad thing, right? He has faced the lineup recently, but they've also seen him recently. So that's within 10 days. So that I'm a little,
I don't know, Jim.
Now, I wish that I could have like the win predictions and all those things, because obviously that'll definitely come into play. It looks like this week at Wrigley, 81, cloudy on Monday, 82 with possible chance of rain on Tuesday, and then 85 and sunny on Wednesday. So again, whatever the winds, that the players mention it all the time. They're like, hey, we just kind of walk in and that day we kind of figure out what the wind's blowing in, right? Because it can change every single day. So we'll see what that is. But hey, I'm excited to watch him throw. I'm excited to watch him pitch. I just wish that there is a part of me that wishes that he faced him, a month ago, 2 months ago, or hasn't faced him at all. Yeah. But again, there could be two sides to both of it. So hopefully it pans out that he's had some experience against them and that we get the win on our side a little bit. But look, Nick Lodolo in the month of July, 5 out of 6 quality starts, a 1.89 ERA. Andrew Abbott, as you said, an 8-1 record on the year. So I wrote down that you somehow, some way try to win 2 out of 3. But right now, it's hard for me to look at this series based on the just the issues that they've had this year with lefties. That has been a consistent conversation. I mean, Trevor Rogers, who's an excellent arm, by the way, nothing to take away from Trevor Rogers, but really, really did well against the Cubs on Friday. So another lefty that's done well. So again, Tuesday is a must-win based on that. They go against Zach Littell, as you mentioned. He acquired at the deadline. He's much worse away from Tampa Bay. He's given up the most home runs in all of baseball at 26. Even splits pretty much across the board, 740 OPS versus lefties and 742 versus righties. So I think if the home run ball can be in effect on Tuesday, that would be excellent based on the fact that he's had, obviously, struggles away from home. And so hopefully that he can struggle a little bit. But I mean, again, like winning 2 out of the 3 out of this series is pretty much the ceiling for me. Like a sweep is really unrealistic. Just based on, I'm sorry, like the struggles they've had against lefties this year. It's just hard to sit here and say they're going to do well again, both Lodolo and Abbott. Like both are gross, just nasty arms. So in both offenses, I mean, the Reds offense has been okay this year. It's not necessarily been anything all too special. So we'll see. 2 out of 3 would be a pretty, that would be pretty impressive to do against this team right now, just based on where they're at.
Well, the Reds, let's face it, the Reds overall are playing a little better than your
You're
Chicago
not bad.
Reds.
Like Terry Francona effect is real.
Yeah, the Reds are a nice, I don't want to say nice little ball club, but that's what they are. They're a nice little ball club. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They're really good in Cincinnati when you pull them away. They're only 25-28 on the season away from Great American Ballpark. So if that helps anything at all, that's something, I guess. But no, it's going to be an uphill battle. And I know people are like, oh, it's just the Reds. They've been playing a lot better baseball than you in the last week. So it's going to be an interesting one. And Ty and I will be back on Wednesday to recap all of that. So in the meantime, do us a favor. Hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that little bell. Like I said, Kyle has been teasing, at least in our group chats, that there will be a breakdown on Kyle Tucker coming. That ought to be a fascinating watch. So make sure you hit the little bell so you get the notification when that goes live. And then audio-only audience, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Oh boy. And 5-star review as well. So Ty, I pray to God that we can have a fun show on Wednesday because probably should have been more fun based on the game today, but we just report the news here on the Setup Man podcast. And with that said, we are going to sign off. We will see you Wednesday night. Thank you for joining us wherever and however you did, but we will see you Wednesday. So long, everybody.